This is Get Back season, baby.
And we're back again, guys, with another video, another episode for you. As you know, it's Get Back season as usual. We just want to thank you for tuning in onto our YouTube platform. Obviously, you can follow us on Spotify as well at Get Back Season. Feel free just to follow us as well on Instagram, getbackseason_pod. And today, guys, we've got a very, very, very special guest for you. Steve, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much for inviting me down, first of all. I massively appreciate it. But I'm Stephen Hamilton. I am a property developer from Birmingham, based on Colmore Road. And I've been a property developer coming up to 9 years now. And yeah, I'm pretty decent at what I do. Without being arrogant, I've lasted this long in the industry. So yeah, I am quite good at what I do.
No, definitely. First of all, as I said, just want to thank you very much for coming on. I understand that you're extremely busy. So just to be able to get you on this podcast and actually be able to share parts of your story and your journey and actually speak about what it is that you're doing as well to motivate those that are listening, I appreciate it very much.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for taking your time to be here.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it.
So where do we start?
I think we should start from the beginning of your story.
Okay. Yeah, it's always a good place to start. I am half Irish, half Asian. Mm-hmm. I was born in Smethwick, which is just down the road from here.
Yeah.
And I was raised by my mum and her family, who are Irish. And I didn't really have my dad in my life as an upbringing. I had a stepdad, but I didn't have my dad. Didn't really know anything about my dad till I was like 14, 15 years old, to be completely honest. And we was council children. Mm-hmm. Family had no money, parents, grandparents on benefits. And yeah, I was just raised just like most people out there in society today. Yeah. Didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth or nothing like that. But I had, it kind of learnt me a lot. My upbringing is very important because without it, I wouldn't be where I am today.
No, definitely. And it's seen because it's one of those things where coming from, let's just say, that type of environment to be where you are now, is it one of those situations where sometimes when you're in that situation or living in that environment and actually growing as a child, did you imagine yourself being in a situation that you are now?
Yeah, it's really weird this is because when we was growing up, there's one thing that sticks in my mind really well. So my mum and my stepdad had a very violent relationship.
Yeah.
It wasn't nice at all. It was horrendous environment to grow up in. But I always remembered on a certain day, my mum used to have a penny jar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she used to get this penny jar out and she used to get me and my sister to count out the money into pounds. And then we used to run to the shop and we used to be able to get, a sweet or something. Yeah. And me and my sister used to really look forward to this game. Now, as I got older, and obviously when I did get older and I spoke to my mum about it, it was because we had no money. So my mum used to use it to go and buy bread or whatever we needed because she was waiting for her benefits to drop. Mm-hmm. But she didn't want us to know what it was, so she made it out to be a game. And I never realised the level that we was at with how poor we was until I got older. And obviously I was like, why did we do that? And she was like, because we had no money. And I didn't want you kids to know how bad we were struggling, so I made it a game. And we used to look forward to it. And it was a reoccurring thing over and over again. So seeing that and understanding it as I got older, it's given me like this certain desire, but I always knew that I was different from a very young age.
What made you feel different?
Because I wouldn't do what the normal kids would do. Mm-hmm. So like all my friends would smoke weed.
Yeah.
Okay.
All my friends would drink alcohol. All my friends would go out climbing trees, riding bikes and stuff like this. Now, the riding bike part of things I would always do because I was always into sports and athletics. But when they wanted to do like, crappy little things like walk around in the rain, and I just wouldn't do it. I was like, I'm not coming out in the rain. What for? I'm talking I was 13, 14, 15 when kids want to be out in the rain. Anything to do with football and stuff, I was there.
Yeah.
But when they just wanted to walk around smoking weed and stuff, I was just like, nah, this ain't for me. And then when they used to talk about certain things, like, oh, I'm going to work with my dad on the weekend, I'm going to do some labouring and some bits and pieces, I was just like, that's not for me.
You didn't see that as life.
But I didn't know what I was going to do. So don't think like I had a plan. I never had a plan. I just felt like I just wasn't, I didn't fit in. I had lots of friends, I just didn't fit in.
Do you think that was down to, let's just say, your mindset? Because let's just say, because you were raised in such an environment, and as you were growing older, are you the older sibling?
Yeah, so my sister, who I haven't spoken to my sister for like 6 years, we've not spoken.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm 2.5 years older than my sister.
So one thing I can talk from experience, me being the older sibling, like when you're growing up in that environment, it was one of those situations where you felt that even though you're young, but you had to mature, if that makes sense. Yeah. So would you say it's because of that why your mindset was a bit different from the rest of that?
No, I wouldn't say it was that. It was because, one, I wanted to get away. That was the first thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to be around my family. Which right now in today's situation, I have no family.
Yeah.
I only have my fiance. But I chose that. Yeah. As a personal choice. We can go into that later on, but as a personal choice. But no, I didn't feel like I had anything like that where I had to because I'm the older sibling, I had to do something. I just felt like I watched all my family, my aunties, my uncles, my cousins and everybody was in the same position. No money, council house, council estate. And I just felt like, no, I don't want this.
You don't want to do it.
And again, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no clue, just like a lot of people don't have a clue.
Yeah.
But I just always knew that whatever I was going to do, I would become the best at it, because even from 11, 12, 13 years old, my mentality was completely different to anybody. If I lost at pool, or if I lost at football, if I lost at table tennis, I was raging. I was so angry all the time. And we have a couple of the guys here now who are my team. If you speak to any of them off camera about anything, I am probably the worst loser in the world. Like, genuinely, like, you can see them laughing. I am horrendous at anything. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm terrible. So I had a good mentality from a very young age.
Got 2 questions for you then. Did you feel like the proximity to your family would have made you end up like them? The first question. And the second question, how important do you think competitiveness is then?
So the first question, 1,000,000%. You are who you hang around with. You become the environment that you're part of.
Yeah.
Now, that's a saying that you see on YouTube and Instagram and all this. No, that's the God's honest truth. If you are around 6 people that are doing shit, you will be the 7th person doing shit. If you are around 6 people that are trying to create something and do something, you will be creative. And if you're around 6 people that are driving Ferraris, one day you will be the 7th. And it's the truest thing you'll ever hear. And you hear people talk about this all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
I'm living proof of it. Like, it's genuine. You are who you surround yourself with. And my family are just horrendous. Like, it was drama constantly. Always a drama. There was no positivity. And I made the decision very early that I'm off. Yeah. I made that, like, that was in my brain from a very, very young age. I am not being around this. No chance whatsoever. I go back to where I'm from.
Yeah.
And there's still people 15 years later doing the same thing. And I see it firsthand. In the same pubs, in the same cafes, because obviously where I'm from, it's pubs and cafes and stuff like that. I go in the pub, the same people are sitting at the same bar 15 years later. I go in the same cafe, the same lads are walking in the cafe having the same breakfast that they had 15 years ago. They're just working somewhere else now.
Does that frustrate you? Because, like, because for me, I think it's very similar, because, like, for example, I would be at work, even when I was growing up, I'll speak to certain people, and ever since I was young, I not necessarily known what I wanted to do, but I've always known that I wanted to achieve some sort of greatness, if that makes sense. I know I was put on this earth to do better than, let's just say, my parents, if that makes sense. So when you, let's just say, communicate with these people and you talk to people and they go, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong, let's just say, with having the same job. If you want to be, let's just say, working at certain establishments forever, that's totally fine, because everyone's different. But at the same time, when I would talk to people and be like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, when I feel like a lot of people are just, they're able to settle for the average, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It motivates me because I work very hard. Yeah. Like, extremely hard. Which a lot of people do. A lot of people work extremely hard, but I think I work harder than anyone. It's a mindset.
Okay.
And I believe that I am the best. Like I genuinely believe that. I don't just tell myself that. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I am the best. In anything I do, I believe I'm the best. But I believe you have to have that mindset. If you don't have that mindset, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to do? If you go into a room and you're in awe of somebody else, that's amazing. But if you start going, oh, I can't be like them, I can't do what they do, well, you've lost straight away. So you have to have that mentality. And again, we go back to what we said at the beginning when I was talking about I am pretty good at what I do. There's a fine line between arrogance and confidence.
That was my question.
And the fine line is based on a person's opinion, how they view you. So anybody that views me and who knows me personally and has met me and has sat in my company knows I am 100% confident. And they know I have time for every single person. The people who have never met me and watch me, they go, he's arrogant, he is. But then when they meet me, they change the tune because it's happened to me 100 times.
Yeah.
I am super confident. And to answer your question, when I see the people around me that I used to grow up with and I see them doing the same thing, there's nothing wrong with that. But it motivates me to realise that you've got to work even harder because I don't want to end up back where I come from.
Fair enough. But say, obviously, when you were young, yeah, hanging around these people, I think you might have told them what you wanted to do or who you wanted to become. How did the people receive it? And
I never really spoke to people about what I was going to do. No, all I used to say to my close friends that I grew up with was, I'm destined for something huge.
Okay.
I believe that whatever I'm going to learn to do in the future, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I just used to say, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to be the best at it. And they all used to laugh because it was the competitive side of me. So when we used to play football, I used to be like, I want to beat all of you. Or if we play table tennis, you can't beat me or anything.
Yeah.
So they all knew I was always used to saying that. But I don't think at that age, at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, anyone actually believes anything people say.
No one takes you serious. I remember the times when I was back in high school and I remember I started my clothing brand when I was around 15, had the idea. I used to tell my friends, I'm going to start my clothing brand. Because in my head, I was when you imagine the future, I was like, yeah, I'm going to start my clothing brand at 14, 15, and then be a millionaire at 18. Because you just think it's that easy. And then, obviously, when you're speaking to people, they're looking at you, especially when they're 14, they're thinking, this guy's crazy.
You're crazy.
What are you on about?
My team still look at me today and think I'm crazy. They think I'm nuts. Some of the things I tell them, they're like, they just look and they just go, but they've got to the point now where they're like, actually, that might happen. Because I've done it so many times over and over again that they're like, I have this saying, when we have meetings and we're all sitting around a table, or if we go to, like, we've done a black tie event or something that we put together, and we've done a seminar in the Millennium Point. We've done two, both sold out. Everyone thought I was crazy, sold them out. Yeah. And one of the things I say to everybody is, craziness has got you here with me right now. So never think anything's too crazy, because all the shit I've done building up to this has been nuts, but you're all standing here, and craziness has got you here now. So let us just carry on doing what we're doing.
That's true. Do you believe in speaking things into existence?
Yeah, so everything that you see, so you know me a bit better than people who are probably watching this.
Yeah.
Every single thing that you see, I have already imagined. So all my cars, I imagined every one of them. The house I live in with the drive, I imagined it. My offices on Colmore Row, probably the best offices on the whole of Colmore Row.
It's amazing. I've been in, it's amazing.
I pictured them 10 years ago.
Wow.
I used to walk down Colmore Row and say, I'm going to have offices in that building. Now I have the best offices in the building. Every single thing that I achieve, I've already envisioned. Genuinely, I'm a massive believer in speaking it into existence.
I read this book, Psycho-Cybernetics, and they spoke about visualization, yeah? Do you visualize on boards or something? Do you have a board where you actually visualize what you want to do? Vision board.
No, I don't have a vision board, and I think it's just because I have it in my brain.
Okay.
So I know what's next. I know what's coming. I talk it into existence. So when we did the seminars, I said to my team, and obviously my Isabella, who's my partner and my fiance, I was like, right, we're going to do 6 seminars, maybe 10, and then we're going to do a stadium.
Wow.
And everyone was just like, okay, that's cool, yeah. We did 2 seminars, and then one of my team who's sitting over there was like, I think we could do a stadium now because of the response from it. And then, like I said, mentioning the stadium at the beginning, everyone was like, oh, hang on, we're a little bit crazy here. That's like 12 to 15,000 people.
Yeah.
I've already envisioned it. I've already seen the stadium tour happening. I've actually seen it. So it's just a matter of time before it actually happens now.
It's a powerful thing to have, because I always say, like, you can't. Well, the rest of the people will think you're crazy before you achieved it. But it's just like, for example, the minute mile. Before someone ran a mile in a minute, they thought that was impossible. Until someone actually did it, then they start seeing, oh wait, maybe it other people can achieve it as well. So sometimes it's like you have to set that standard for people to follow, if that makes sense.
Completely agree with that.
Because
I actually agree with that massively. Completely agree. It's like, is it Alan Shearer who's the top Premier League goal scorer now? 260
Newcastle,
goals. Yeah, that's what I think it's at. That will be broken. There is no ifs or buts or question marks about that. That will be broken because records are there to be broken. So, like you said, the minute mile, even though other people couldn't see it happening, there's people out there who's doing it, going, "I can beat that. I can do that," because they're visualizing it and they're speaking it into existence. And I'm a massive believer into speaking it into existence.
Do you have a company, a property company that you see yourself competing with? That you see yourself, oh, I actually want to get as big as this company?
doesn't see competition.
I don't have competition.
You don't have competition?
No, I don't. I'm not the biggest.
Okay.
By far, there's some super companies out there, but I will be the biggest. It's just time. If you look at my growth in the years that we've been doing it, to where other companies that are probably the biggest where they was, I've done it in probably half or even a quarter of the time. Even the YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel just the other day hit 10,000 subs in just over a year.
Wow.
If you compare that to every single property YouTuber in the UK, no one did that what we did in that short amount of time. And like you said, I can see the steps and thinking like and the way it's going. We will be the biggest property YouTube company on social media in the UK. We will be the biggest, and we will be the biggest development company in the UK within the next 10 years.
You mentioned property social media company. So social media part of your company strategy?
Yeah, massively, huge. So I own something called Team 11 and the Property Circle, which is a network. And I'm building this network up and it's getting some serious momentum, which is something that's amazing because what people don't understand is my development company, where I own all my properties and I build and I do everything like that, there's only so much you can physically do with your own money.
Okay.
And there's only so much you can physically do with the bank's money because I get offered deals where people want to complete in a week. People need cash. People need to be paid. They need to get out of situations they're in. Banks can't give you the money within a week. And sometimes I don't have that money available because it's tied up in 40, 50, 60 different projects. So with the network that I've created and the way that I'm out there on social media, I have endless people that I can call to say, this is here. I need to complete the next 24 hours. It's amazing. Social media is probably the greatest tool to taking your company to the next level, in my opinion.
Yeah. So would you say like you use the social media obviously to network? Because even though, let's just say you're growing and your brand is doing well and the companies are doing well, as you said, like, doesn't matter if you have the foundations of the bank and etc. You still need, let's just say, to make certain connections in order to continue that momentum of growing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Network. Social media opens doors, and certain doors it opens that are really unintended. You say I put a video out today, say this podcast. Say we put this podcast out today and I don't know, 1,000 people watch it. Let's just say 1,000 people. 999 of them people might just be people who have switched on to watch your podcast. One of them people could just be someone who goes, I like you two. You two are amazing. And then they watch the podcast and they go, you know what? I want you to take this podcast to the next level. I have the funds and I believe that you two have the X factor. And all of a sudden this person, from watching your social media, changes your life. It only takes that one person. I watched again, you don't know what's true on social media and what's not. You have to do your due diligence on things. But I watched something the other day where one guy was putting some content out on social media and he was getting 20 views, 40 views, 60 views, 80 views. And people were like, you need to stop now. Like, you've been doing it a year, you're not growing, it's not, people aren't paying attention. And he was like, no, I'm carrying on. It takes years and years. And it just so happens to be that one of his former school friends was Oprah Winfrey's assistant. And Oprah Winfrey needed something as a voiceover. And she was like, oh, my friend's doing like this thing, so listen to his voice. And Oprah Winfrey listened to this guy's voice on his channel. I was like, that's the voice we want. And he only had 100 views.
Is it the guy that talks about love, yeah?
I can't think what it was.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And I was like, that is incredible. Like, absolutely incredible. 100 views, and one of them turned out to be Oprah Winfrey. So social media is something that you have to keep going.
Yeah.
You have to keep going because you don't know who's watching.
Yeah.
I might have 2,000-3,000 views on a video in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Someone else might have 50, but out of them 50 people, there might be someone that can change that person's life. But out of my 3,000, there's nobody. So it doesn't go on views. It goes on the content you're putting out and who's watching.
You see, that's good to hear because sometimes, especially like with social media, we always have an insight of everyone's lives. And I feel like it's so easy to get fixated on numbers. Like, I remember before we even started this channel, my fiance over there, she started her YouTube and she always used to put out videos. And then we would watch numbers and I used to be like, oh, don't watch the numbers, babe. Like, because it's easier said than done. And then obviously when we started this podcast, certain times we'll create content that you think is amazing. Because you get so fixated on the numbers, like, let's just say the numbers don't reflect like the actual meaningfulness of what you released. And then sometimes it's easy to just feel like deflated, if that makes sense.
I know a lot of people who have podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of podcasts. I get invited to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
And I watch their content and I watch what they do, and it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
They're just throwing out as many podcasts as they can, hoping that someone watches and sponsors it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the content is shit. What they're actually doing and what they're saying and what they're talking about, I'm just like, you are not putting no
Value.
attention into what's going on.
Into detail.
If they took one of those podcasts of the 10 they put out in the last month and put 100% effort into it, they'd probably get way more from it than the 10 that they're putting out. But like you said, it's a numbers. A lot of people are fixed on the numbers. And another thing that I don't like is people who put stuff on social media and they are not that person in real life. That is one of the things
You said that though.
I hate the most, because if you meet me, you've met me, you've been in my company. I'm exactly the same as I am on social media as I am in real life. There's no difference. Only thing on social media is I don't swear as much.
Yeah.
I swear a lot. But the amount of people I've met on social media, and I'm like, yeah, I want to meet this person. I like this person. I like the content. I like what they do.
Yeah.
And then when I'm face to face with them, I'm like, what a twat.
Yeah.
Like, you are an absolute knob. I hate that. That really upsets me, that does, because people are just putting out a false persona to gain the likes and the views.
I feel like it might depend on, maybe, let's say on social media you do not have anything to gain from it. Let's be honest. You have your company, it's thriving and everything. So all you put out is, let's say, value out to reach people that think like you. I feel like when people don't do what they portrayed on social media, that's when they have to lie to attract people
Or attract money.
Yeah.
So my business is great.
Yeah.
I have a great business. It can get way better, and it will get better. But I have a very nice, comfortable life.
Yeah.
So when I put things out on social media, it's to gain a network.
Yeah.
It's to gain people to follow me who I can work with in the future.
Yeah.
A lot of people get paid from social media. That's their income. That's what they're paying their mortgage with. That's what they're buying their food with. So sometimes they have to put on what gets them the money.
Persona.
It doesn't last very long. You know, you get a run. You get 6 months, 6 years. You will always get found out. And eventually someone will call you out on social media. It's happened to a lot of people now. You can see it. Like, they're not the same person in real life. And on social media, they get called out, and then it starts getting a bad name, bad reputation. If you just go on social media and be you, in the long run, you will win.
And
Guarantee.
It's less stressful because when you're pretending to be something that you're necessarily not, you always have to put on that act, if that makes sense. And it's always going to be tiring because there's only a certain amount of time that you can fake it for before eventually you're just going to be stressed out.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
100%.
burnt out.
You'll snap.
Definitely.
When you snap, there'll be a camera around, and they'll get you, and then it's game over then.
Touching back on, let's just say, your childhood, let's progress from that. When was when you're growing up, did you ever think about college, uni, or was it just more of, okay, I'm going to go into a field because I want to gain experience? Because I feel like a lot of listeners, especially like our audience specifically, they're uni students or young adults that are still trying to figure out of where to kind of go. So what kind of steps did you take in order to, let's just say, build that foundation of what you have now?
Okay, so I have to be super careful with this because I have a lot of people who follow us now.
Yeah.
And yesterday I did something that was sorry, not yesterday, Wednesday, but yesterday it all come to fruition. I went to a school in Birmingham.
Okay.
And I made a lot of money from a deal the other day, and I spent a lot of money on trainers. And I went to a school in Handsworth, and I gave the trainers out to the children. And it's made all the papers, and it's gone viral, and everybody's talking about it and stuff. And I've got all these kids messaging me, and I've been invited to a lot of schools to speak. Spoke at Halzone College. I'm there again next Friday, and we do a lot of things. So I have to be super careful how I explain it, because my story and the way that I did it will not necessarily work for other people. So I don't want people to see, Steve left school at 15, and look at him now driving around in Lamborghinis and Ferraris and shit like that. I am a guy that did well and had doors opened up for him because I made them open up, but it's because I stepped through them. You have to have, everybody can achieve anything they want to achieve, I believe.
Okay.
We all have greatness in us. We just have to find out what it is.
True.
But not everybody can flick the switch. And that's the thing that people need to understand. We all have greatness.
Yeah.
We can all achieve anything we want to achieve. But the chances of you flicking that switch in your brain to do it is 1 in a million.
It's the confidence.
Indeed.
It's not even just confidence. There's so much to it. There's your environment. There's confidence. There's you as a person. A lot of it is, can you control your brain? Can you control your thought process? A lot of people's brains run away with them. A lot of people can't control their thought process. If you can't control your thought process, how are you ever going to become great? Because our thoughts overtake us. We all know that. We're all sitting here. When you sit down and you've got a real big problem.
Yeah.
And like your brain's just running and you're going. You've got to be able to switch it off.
I'm a victim of it.
Are you a victim of it?
Yeah.
And it's very difficult, isn't it?
Extremely difficult.
You can train yourself to completely switch it off. You can achieve it. And I've done it in the past.
Okay.
I made it happen. I was like, I can't keep thinking like this. I've got to stop thinking. And once you can flick that switch and you can control your thoughts.
Do you want to share how you did it?
I think it was because I was broke. If I'm honest. I think it's because I just couldn't. Madness is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting
the same
different results.
Something different, but you will get the same results.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I don't know what happened this one day. I was just sat there and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Can't keep thinking negatively. I can't keep being around these people. And I believe I flipped the switch. And that was about 10 years ago. And yeah, it just happened. And that's why I'm very careful about how I put things out to the youth today, because everyone will just leave school. Steve did it.
True.
He's telling everybody leave school. You can't leave school because you need the basic education to get you ahead in life. You need maths. The world is run by numbers. Our lives are run by numbers. Every single day that we do something, it's numbers. Okay, you wake up in the morning, you know you've got your mortgage, your rent, or your bills to pay. So numbers, straight away.
Yeah.
You walk out your house, how you get into work, or how you get into college, or how you get into school. It's either the bus, the train, or the car.
Yeah.
Petrol. Sure. Numbers. Money. What you're going to eat today? Numbers. When you get home at night and you put your TV on, numbers. Electric. The world is numbers.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out numbers, you are one step ahead of everybody, because you need to understand how everything runs. The world runs on numbers, money. That's what the world runs on. Now, if you can understand maths, English is super important, super important, because you need to understand everything again. When you get a job, you get a contract. When you do anything, you sign into things. When you take a phone out, you got a contract. You got to understand how what things are read in terms. So maths and English are super important. All the other stuff, genuinely, I don't see the benefit of it. That's me. Yeah. Unless you're going into a career and you've specifically chosen a career to go into. But if you don't know what you want to be, and you struggle at school, if you could just concentrate on maths and English to start with, and understand that you need to master them, that gives you a foot up in life, in my opinion. All the other stuff is just down to what your career path is. So I'm a big fan of people finishing school with maths and English and understanding to get that if they don't know what they want to do. But also, kids being at school today, it's okay not to know what you want to do.
Yeah.
There's no problem by 16 years old. I went to Halzone College the other day, did a talk, and I said to the group of children, well, they're not even children, these A-level students, I was like, what's your biggest fear? And this one lad put his hand up and he's like, I have no idea what I want to do. And I'm stressed. And I'm like, you're 16 or 17. Stop stressing yourself. You have the whole world is still out there for you. Just take your time. You could see he was stressed, and I was like, it's so sad. The pressure that's put on people by society these days is just uncalled for. Because everybody's watching social media and seeing
that definitely plays a part.
The end goal.
And you know what it is? I feel like sometimes it can be social media, but you know how you were speaking about your environment when you were younger? I feel like sometimes it can be stress because you want to leave that environment so badly. You're trying to get to a point where either you got a good job that you're earning your own money, where you don't have to rely on your parents. Because speaking from my experience, I only came to this country when I was about 7 or 8 years old. I was originally born in Jamaica. My parents weren't necessarily in the best, the greatest position, and I could see that. So ever since from a young age, because I was the eldest one, I was grown up in my mind to think, I can't wait to have my own thing so I can take less pressure off them, if that makes sense.
That's nice.
So I always used to think, like, I remember, I'll tell you a story. My mum always used to make me, I think it was like cheese and ham sandwich or something like that, because it was the cheapest thing. Remember Netto? Do you remember Netto?
I remember Netto. Yeah, my mum used to shop in Netto.
Yeah, mum used to shop at Netto. Used to make me like cheese and ham sandwich. I hated cheese and ham sandwich. Hated it. Never used to like it. Every single day she would pack me cheese and ham sandwich. Never liked it. But I never told her that I didn't like it because I knew that was necessarily the cheapest thing that she could afford, if that makes sense. So for, I think, months and months and months, I used to have like the fruit in my bag and a drink. Didn't used to have anything else. But what I used to do was like dash it out at school. Or she told me that I used to come home and like hide it behind the sofa or something before I came in. And I remember one day she came to me and she must have found like a whole bunch of them because we're moving house. She was like, why is there a bunch of cheese and ham sandwiches behind the sofa? I was like, I don't like cheese and ham. And I was like, I never liked cheese and ham. She was like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, because I know you couldn't afford it. And I was literally like, at this age, I was 7. So
wow.
In her head, she was like, what the hell? But for me, I just always thought from a young age, I need to do what I need to do so I don't put my mom in a sticky situation, if that makes sense.
That's incredible.
So sometimes a kid, like, let's just say there's kids that are at high school, you don't know what their situation is. So they're stressed because they're thinking, I can't wait to get a Poundland job or a Tesco job because if I have this, then I won't have to stress my parents out.
Yeah, the respect that you have there is absolutely incredible because not many people think like that. So to me already that shows me your mindset. That's how you are. That's incredible. That's really touched me that as a little kid because that's incredible to do something like that. But not many people think like that.
That's true.
Not many people think like that whatsoever. Kids nowadays, especially in today's society, they are fucked. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
No, you can say that.
They are in a whole different world.
You know what's sad? I don't even think it's just the kids. I think adults as well.
Yeah, to an extent. It depends. It's a younger adult, I genuinely believe.
Yeah.
But there's no respect. No one has any respect these days. My manners are absolutely sensational. Anybody you ever come across who knows me, my manners are 10 out of 10. I'm probably the most respectful person you will ever meet. Doors opening, holding doors, letting women through first. I'm old school because my mum was awful to me. Like if I didn't say please or thank you, I was whacked around the back of my head from a very, very young age. So my manners are 10 out of 10. Yeah. And today's manners in society are just 0 out of 10. When I'm in the ball ring and stuff like that and I see the kids walking around and some of the things they're doing and the way they speak and the way, like when you hold the door open and there's a woman walking and there's 20 lads just barge through the door and I'm like, not one of you just stood back. I don't like it. It upsets me. Yeah. And I think having role models is very important.
Yeah.
I think but the kids have no role models. So let's look at the role models. I'm on YouTube.
Okay.
So it's very difficult for me to say certain things. But if you look at role models in today's society, we have KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. All of a sudden we have Andrew Tate pop up out of nowhere. My thoughts on this human being are, as a person, he might be the nicest man you could ever meet, but the shit he says online, no.
Do you think it's all detrimental?
It's disgusting.
All of it?
99.9% of it. It's all for controversy. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to sell.
Great.
But then we have these young kids. You know, he makes comments like, yeah, I'll move one bitch out the way, and then I rolled over and I'll move my other bitch out the way. And I tell my hoe to go and make a drink and stuff. And you got 10, 12, 13-year-old kids watching it, and I'm like, if my son, I haven't got any children yet, I've got one on the way.
Yeah.
My son ever walked into our kitchen
Yeah.
and said, yo, bitch, make me a ham sandwich, I think I'd be in jail. But if he's watching it consistently on the internet, well, eventually he's going to say it. So I think the role models for the kids today are just horrendous. Like, I really do believe that.
You know, I want to ask you a question, yeah? Since you mentioned Andrew Tate. Let's say you're a person of high status. Yeah, because you are.
Okay.
And do you think, you know, when someone like Andrew Tate say, yeah, that a person of high status can actually change as many women that they want, they can do whatever they want. How true do you think that is then?
Horrendous? No, I don't agree with that whatsoever. No, not one bit. I do believe that men with money and power think that they can do certain things. But again, I think that's how you're raised. Mm-hmm. So if my mom ever heard me, my mom's not here anymore, but if my mom ever heard me speak bad to a woman, I'm in serious shit. Like serious shit. Like you, even at this age now, if she was still alive, you best believe that when she sees me, I'm getting a good hiding. So I think it's how you're raised. Mm-hmm. But no, I don't like the thought process of a high value individual as a male can do what they want and have as many women as they want. No, I don't like that. That's not my thought process.
It's actually good to see someone who is on that level saying it.
Yeah.
And let's say put an emphasis and value on just having a wife and growing up a family.
Well, my business and my world wouldn't be anywhere near where it is today without my Isabella. Mm-hmm. Like without her, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are today.
Okay.
She's my partner. We do everything together, 50-50. Every decision's made together. Where the business is now is based on her and me together. Okay. I'm not better than her. She's not better than me. But greatness, when a man finds a woman or a woman finds a man, that's when greatness happens. Wow. If a man's got 4 or 5 or 6 women on the go and he's fingering around, he's got way too much stress and hassle to continue and to create like something that you want to create. So no, I think one woman is 100% better than 5 or 6 women. And if any listeners are watching this, anyone that's watching this who's got more than one woman, guarantee you they're stressed. I guarantee you they're watching this thinking, yeah, Steve's right, you know, I'm stressed out. I'm definitely stressed out. Because, okay, I'm going to build a development.
Okay.
I'm looking at buying a building in Hockley.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's say the development's going to cost me 6 million.
Okay.
The building's costing me 3, the development's costing me 3. I'm just throwing figures out there.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I get a phone call from, I'm going to use you as an example.
Yeah.
And I've never met you.
Yeah.
Okay? And you say to me, Steve, I want to go into business with you. Mm-hmm. My first reaction is, right, we need to spend some time together.
Yeah.
I need to see if you can hang around with me. Mm-hmm. Can I hang around with you? Can we create something together in the future? That's going to take 2 or 3 years of our lives. So I need to know I like you.
Yeah.
And vice versa, I hope, for a business partnership. And let's say after 4 or 5 meetings, we both are like, yep, I like you. You're cool. Because obviously it's a front. No one's the real person the first 4 or 5 times you meet people.
That's true.
So I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Let's do something. You're going to put 3 million in. I'm going to put 3 million.
Yeah.
Then we go to celebrate. And, you know, I've met your fiance or your wife. Okay? She's come for dinner. You've met my fiance. We're having dinner. Your fiance goes away. My fiance goes away. Then you sit with me and you go, oh, Steve, look at this bird on Instagram. She keeps sending me pictures like this, and you do that. And then you pull it back. And then, you know, I'm sitting there like, okay, cool, whatever. Then you go, I've got another bird on the side.
Yeah.
I've got another thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, it's my thing, staying this and that. What the fuck could you do to me if you're doing that to your partner who you share a bed with?
Yeah.
So how am I ever supposed to trust you in business?
I've heard that before.
Great way to look at it.
You're going home. You're getting in bed.
Yeah.
You spend most of your lives with this woman who you can't be respectful or treat right, and you're cheating on. What are you going to do to me as your business partner if you get the opportunity?
You know what? I'd answer, yeah. I think in this situation, there's a high chance, that if the person can snake you or if there's money involved and they can do something to get it, they might not have the self-control, they might just take the money.
Yeah. I believe if you can't look after the person that you're home with and you can't treat them right and you're cheating on them, there's no point. You're not getting into business with me.
That's fine.
Because there's always going to be a chance you can do something to me.
Yeah.
But if you've got right morals and right respect for your missus, I've got more chance of trusting you. But as soon as I hear that you're no good to your partner, I'm straight away thinking, I don't want to work with this guy because this guy's definitely going to do something to me when he gets the opportunity. So that's how I look at business. I spend a lot of time around people I go into partnerships with. I spend a lot of time with people who I do joint ventures with, and I gauge a lot of it from that. That's one of my main things in life. One of my main things, how their person treats their partner. And that's how I judge whether I'm going to do business with a lot of people.
I've learned a lot.
Say again?
I've learned a lot. That's actually a good judgment.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you have.
When it comes to, obviously, you touch on certain figureheads like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, the KSIs. Would you say there's a lot of, let's just say, public figures, but there's not a lot mentors, if that makes sense? I feel like it's easy for, especially on social media, to look up for the younger generation and some of like the current generation to look to these people. But how important would you say mentorship is? Because I remember when we first had our first meeting, obviously I had to do my due diligence on you. I was watching a lot of your YouTube videos and whatnot, and I came across the one where you're giving a bit of background about yourself. And obviously I remember you touched on that, I think it was your first job or your second job.
Yeah,
you had,
a guy called Sean.
Yeah, you had like a mentorship, but he kind of molded you in a sense to be the person that you are now.
Yeah.
So how important would you say that is, and what role did that play in like your life?
Yeah, that was very important. So I used to drink in a pub in a very rough part of Birmingham.
Yeah.
And it was when I didn't really know which way I was going or what I was going to become or what I was going to do. I had nothing. I was driving, at the time I had a Renault Megane. I remember it, the one where you got the key card and you used to put it into start.
I used to think the key card is cool. I used to like the key
I
card.
loved it. I thought I was like Batman or something. But I used to have that car and I used to drive to this pub, and I was naughty. I used to do whatever I had to do to survive. And in this pub, this man used to come on a Friday because his partner lived in that area. He didn't live in that area, and he used to see his kids. And then once he'd finished with his kids, he'd come to the pub for 2 drinks, and then he'd drive off. Very well respected guy. He was a solicitor. Okay. Very well respected. Very smartly dressed. And he could go around the rougher areas because he was respected. People had respect for him. He was a big guy, 6'6". Wasn't really a fighter, but could handle himself if he needs to be. But people liked him because he treated people with respect. So this guy used to see me all the time in this pub, and he used to say to me, "When you come in this pub, Steve, people gravitate towards you. You're like an energy. The whole pub comes around you, and you make everybody laugh, and everybody wants to be around you, and everyone wants to talk to you. Come and work for me. I'm a solicitor." I was like, "I ain't not a solicitor. Like, you clearly see what I'm up to. I'm not a solicitor." And he's like, "No, you have something very special." He said, "So come and work for me." Bit of banter for a couple of weeks, and then he was like, "I'm being serious about this job offer." And I was like, what do you want me for? I don't understand it." And he was like, "If you don't take this opportunity, you're going to regret it." And I was just still on benefits and still rolling around doing what I was doing. So I took the job. Very poor pay, which he was teaching me a lesson, which I look back now and I was like, I'm massively respecting him for it. And he kind of taught me 90% of what I know today, not as in education, of how to run a business, how to do things. And then I worked for him for like 4 or 5 years, and we got to a level in this business where we was earning superb money. I actually started getting profit shares of certain things. And that's how I got into the property world. And with his money, I bought my first ever supercar through that. I bought an Audi R8, which was my dream in life. I thought I was Iron Man. I remember it clear as day. It was a gunmetal grey one. I bought it from Bristol, and that's where I was celebrating my success. His success was coming in cocaine and alcohol. And he was flying around Birmingham, San Carlo, Fumo, all the top restaurants, spending 2-3 grand a night. And then his demise, I was watching it happen, and I was trying to speak to him like, come on. But because there's so much money involved, it's very difficult to change someone's opinion because they think it's there forever and a day. And eventually, the whole thing just went.
It's collapsed.
Just went. But I had the foresight to see it 3 years before it happened, because I could see the way his life was going. Yeah. And he was like, to me, he was like the pinnacle. I respected this guy, and I still respect this guy to this day. That's the thing that everyone's got to understand. He is not in a great position in life today.
Yeah.
And I saw him about 6 months ago. And I find myself going back to him every 2 years just to say, are you okay? And when I see him, I'm like, no, he's not okay, but I can't help. Because money's not going to help the situation.
Okay.
But he was my mentor. As in, he was the guy that showed me the way. At the time, was he my mentor? No. Because I didn't know what that was. But looking back, yes. I had someone that I could fix on that I was going to say, that's what I want to do and be.
Yeah.
And then surpass it.
What was your job title then when you started with him?
Dog's body. Whatever he said do. If he told me to jump, I'd say how high.
Okay.
But I quickly realised that I was smarter than most of the solicitors in that law firm. And yeah, I went very, very far in that place. I went very far.
No, that's good. When it came to, let's just say, the certain situations, because I feel like some people always see the end result, but they don't see the process. So like when you first started, obviously some people would get frustrated if they've gone into a job. They're not necessarily getting the most amazing pay, but the guy's like, oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. Sometimes it's easy for people to complain but not see the long-term benefits, because some people would see the pay, but obviously you're getting first-hand experience of how to run a business, how to communicate with people, because these are all fundamental parts that are going to benefit you later on when you come to obviously having your own business. So was there ever a moment where you thought, fuck it, like I just want to walk out?
Every day. Every single day. I'm a long-term game player. I'm a person who thinks of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 years. If you watch even my gender reveal, what I'm trying to accomplish in my life will never be accomplished in my life.
Legacy.
Yes. So I will set the foundations.
Yeah.
And I will probably build up whatever figure I want to get to in life. But it will have to be passed on to achieve what I have in my brain. So I'm fighting every single day and I'm working every single day to achieve something that's not achievable. And I understand it and I get it. And I'm at peace with it. So that makes me work even harder. And a lot of people just want the fixation and the results now. I've never had that thought process in my entire life. I've always thought, what will happen if I do this in 10 years? What will happen if I do this in 5 years? I have steps with everything I do. So yes, there was 100,000 times that the days broke me, but my vision was always the same, because I was like, right, this is my stepping stone in life.
Yeah.
I have left school. I'm from a council estate. I have no money.
Yeah.
Yet I am in Birmingham town centre in an office with 15 solicitors, learning every single day. I'm not gonna walk away from it.
Yeah.
How did you manage, to keep pushing even though you didn't have any money? Like what kept you there?
He gave me basic money.
Okay.
Like basic money, but at that time I was living a basic life. So
Okay.
I didn't understand R8s and Rolexes and designer clothes and all that kind of stuff. So my motivation was never like, I need more money to buy this. My motivation was, I need to stick at this because this is going to lead somewhere eventually. And that's exactly what it was. Just keep sticking.
Because you mentioned a long-term plan. Let's say there's certain things that you wanted,
Yep.
Do you, let's say, have steps that, okay, I want to get to this. This is all I need. And then after this, I just don't care.
Yeah.
So I can just wait 10 years and it doesn't matter.
Yes, to an extent.
Okay.
So I don't want for anything in life anymore.
Okay.
I like a nice car. I'm a male. I like nice cars, and that's not saying females aren't, but men love cars. We grew up on Ferraris and Lamborghinis. I did. As long as I've realised now as I'm getting older that like I'm not as healthy as I thought I was. That scares me.
Okay.
I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. When I say I don't drink, I will have 1 pint of Guinness every 6 months, or I will have one single brandy and lemonade, because I have this thing in my head that if I have 2 drinks the next day, I'm going to lose half a day.
Yeah.
It's really weird. So it's in my brain. So it's the craziest thing ever, because when you talk about steps and stuff like that, what I'm trying to achieve and what I'm trying to get to it's just keep going every single day, because I don't have an end goal.
Okay.
There isn't a goal. There isn't a figure. There's a next figure I want to get to, but then there's going to be a figure after that, and then there's a figure after that. There's an amount of properties I want to own and develop, and then every time I beat that, there's the next one. I want to build my own offices.
Okay.
I don't want to be renting on Colmore Road forever and a day. It's too expensive. It's a huge amount of money. So I'm in the process now of buying a piece of land to build my offices. So I have steps and goals, but there's never an end goal.
Would you say the process obviously is bigger than you? So it's like, for myself, like I've got, as I said, I'm the eldest one. So anytime I do anything now, I'm trying to be the best, let's just say, the best person in every single like type of field for my siblings, for my friends, for the people that come across me. Because I come across so many people that, let's just say, settle for average. I'm trying to be in that 1% that didn't want to settle, that's always keep going, because ultimately I want them to see me elevating and think I can do it too, if that makes sense.
That's amazing.
I want them to be like, wait, because how I see it, it's like, if you're able to see where I've come from and then I'm up here now, if that doesn't give you the motivation to be like, okay, we started the same place, if I started too as well, keep going. It's like, for me, I'm a big advocate of, we all can be successful in this world. That's how I see it. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to go the extra mile to be different, to, let's just say, do the impossible. So like, for example, when I reach out to people to jump on this podcast, I could be reaching out to people that, let's just say, wouldn't necessarily jump on a fresh and new podcast, but I am sending that message with full hope that they're gonna message. It's like, I always talk to Thomas and I'll be like, this person's coming on. He's like, how do you get that person on? I'm like, just send a message.
No, he's got a good way with words.
I speak to the people at work, because sometimes while I'm at work, I'm working on podcasts. I'll be at work and I'm editing or whatnot. My manager's like, Rich, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working, but really I've got my phone out and I'm editing for the podcast as well. And the point that I'm trying to make is, it's like, when sometimes it's easy to just build, and there's a lot of people that solely focus on themselves, but you always have to like do better, not for yourself, but for the people that you don't even know are watching you, if that makes sense.
Well, you're a role model and a mentor then. You are creating, you are a mentor to your siblings and the people and friends around you. You're creating that yourself. You're putting it in your head. So when you say who was your mentor, what you're doing, you're creating your own role now for your people, which is sensational. And I massively take my hat off to you, because you are pushing and you are trying. You are trying to do what you're trying to do, or both of you are trying to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Look at the time now. You're doing a podcast at this time of night. It tells me everything I need to know about the people I'm around. And touching upon the second part that you said about you're a new podcast.
Yeah.
I am no way, shape or form a clout chaser. I do not like clout chasers. I do not like people who use other people to get ahead. I don't like, it really pisses me off when I see people posting other people, yet they can't post their friends. And they can't support the friends, but they'll support Kylie Jenner or fucking Andrew Tate or someone. When you guys reached out to me, I didn't look at your followers. I didn't look at your channel until after I met you.
Yeah.
When you come and met me and you were sitting in my office and you explained it to me, and I said, yes, I'll do the podcast. Yeah. When I looked at your followers and stuff afterwards, not one of my team went, that's no good for you, Steve. Are you doing the podcast? Like, what's a new, fresh? No, I was like, the guy messaged me, took his time out to come and meet me. And he's got a podcast now that is new, which obviously, like I said, I found out after you met me. Why am I not going to help? If I can add 20 views to the channel, or if I can get 10 of my subscribers to subscribe to your channel, that's 10 extra people. Yeah. Why would I not do that? It's not like I'm doing it. Yes, I could be going home now. It's Friday night. I've got a busy weekend. Yeah. 2 hours of my life is not going to kill me. So I like people who take the time out of their lives to actually help other people. And you can do it in 100 ways where other people don't understand it. So people would be like, Steve's gone on a podcast to raise his profile. I could have gone on another podcast to raise my profile, but I've gone on one that I think the person who met me was a really nice person, and hopefully it helps boost something if it can. No, definitely. So I think it's important to help. You can't, my whole thing is be nice, be kind. Yeah. If you watch my Instagram and my YouTube, be nice, be kind. That's my whole mantra in life. You've got to actually practice it.
You have to do
You
it.
can't just say it. You have to be that person. So yeah, I don't like clout chasers. I'm a hate it.
Getting back, one second. Getting back to your 10-year long-term plan, yeah. I want to maybe talk about myself. Let's say this. I come from a situation, yeah, where my mom has had a lot of issues. I've always wanted to save her, but I always think, yeah. So my mom is, let's say, 58, and I always think you never know when she's gonna die, unfortunately. So I always feel like I'm in a rush, and if I have to do something, like it kind of put me in a rush. Like I don't feel like I have too much time.
Yeah.
Like it makes me want to have everything, let's say in 2 years. So maybe I can buy a house in Africa or wherever, so she can just relax. Or maybe even going to extreme, put her on a private jet or something like that.
Yeah.
How would you deal with that type of kind of pressure?
Well, my mum passed away, unfortunately, when I was 23. And the one piece of advice I can give to every single person, and it's coming from a very like dark place, is make sure you spend time with your mum. Your dad is your dad, but your mum is the one who brought you into this world. And without her, yes, without your dad, technically, but your mum could have gone to a clinic and got the same thing, and she's the one that brought you into it. So I understand the urgency.
Yeah.
You've always got to work on that urgency, because you don't know when she's not going to be here.
Yeah.
So every second counts, and every day that goes by, there's a very good chance that she's not going to be here the next day. So if you've got this vision of buying your mum a house, even putting on a private jet, well, you got to sleep a lot faster than what you're sleeping now, because it has to be done.
Yeah.
You can't keep waiting and keep saying 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It's nice to have steps and goals, but you've just got to put the effort in, because when she's gone, all these things that you're talking about right now,
I'll be gone.
shit.
That's fine.
So you do have to push. It's like again, when I talk about that sleep faster thing, you genuinely have to sleep faster. You can't be sleeping 8, 10, 12 hours a day. You physically can't do it, because you're wasting a third of the day of where you can be doing something to go to your goals. And that's why I say the switch in someone's brain. Not everybody has it. It's very difficult. I had someone in one of my days last week, and he said to me, I said, who's got all of their New Year's resolution goals ready? Are you ready to? And he was like, yep. He put his hand up, and he was like, January the 1st, yep. And I was like,
Why January?
we have a whole 6.5 weeks before that day.
Yeah.
Why are you waiting for that day to change your life? If you're going to change your life, you've got to do it now, like right this second. And I'm not saying change your life, you're going to change it there.
Yeah.
But your mindset's got to switch that second. You've got to put into play something that you're trying to achieve. You're at work, and you're working on your podcast.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Getting your job done because you're getting paid, but you're still working on that thing there.
Yeah.
You got it. That's the level you have to be at. There's no days off, because
how I see it, there's someone working while you're relaxing. There's someone around the world that is working, putting in that work. And that's why, you know that saying where it's like, if you wake up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m., it's like mentally it prepares you, because you think while everyone's sleeping, you're just getting that little bit head start. It may just be 2-3 hours, but when it comes to time is something that's very limited, and time is something that you're not going to get back. So if you can just be 3 hours ahead of somebody, and you do that, let's just say for 10 years consistently, that's a lot of time.
It's a hell of a lot of time. I can buy a lot of things that I want in this world now. I'm in a very fortunate position that I've put myself in. The only thing I can't buy is time. It's my most precious commodity. I cannot buy it. I physically cannot get someone to give me any.
Yeah.
No matter how much I offer them or what I offer them in return. So I love my time. As I've got older though.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I didn't think about it at all. Now I'm getting older. I'm like, I need to make sure that every time I'm out, I am paying attention to the clock, because I want to make sure I'm doing the most. And it's really important. It's really important to understand time. And a lot of people, another thing is, people who read books.
Yeah.
People read books, and there's a lot of knowledge in books.
Yeah.
But who are the ones that are reading 100 books a year and doing fuck all? What are you reading the books for?
I've always
I read a lot of books last year as well.
Put the books down and go out and do some work. Because I see it all the time. Instagram's a funny place. I've read 17 books this week.
Yeah.
I'm like, where the fuck have you worked? You can't work and read.
Yeah.
I'm getting the knowledge. The knowledge to do what?
You know, I'll talk maybe from my situation, yeah? So I started a business 4 years ago. It was online e-commerce, selling clothing, like high end streetwear. What made me do that was because I started this business thinking that, okay, you know what, I could run Facebook ads to it and just generate revenue, and it's just going to grow and I can relax. What happened to me is that I flopped badly, lost everything that I put into it, and that was all the money that I had. So I'll say it put some kind of fear into me. Then I got a bit scared because I was thinking, oh, if I start something again, what if I fail again? Maybe I don't have the knowledge. I need to go back and maybe read books or maybe learn new strategies and how to do it.
Yeah.
How do you get over failure?
I don't know about that one, It's very easy for me to say certain things again, like I've said.
Yeah.
So what I'm about to say now, you have to understand I've done it.
Yeah.
So I have failed more times than I have succeeded.
Okay.
You just don't know about it. Why don't you know about it?
No one screams about it. That's
No.
not.
So
Yeah.
get off my arse
Yeah.
and I fix it. And I make sure I don't do it again. I have failed 6 times this week.
Wow.
6 times. That have cost me probably about 40k. Does anyone know about it? No. I got off my arse and I made the 40k back in another area and I continued to push. I failed about 13 times last month.
Wow.
No one knows about it because I don't talk. When you get scared, that's what the human brain has told you to do. Like failure. Oh, wow, don't want to do this again. Scared. You know, stand off at the edge of a bridge ready to jump on a bungee jump. Fear's telling you not to jump.
Yeah.
Like it's inside you. You've been trained. Don't jump off a bridge. Where you failed and the fear that you had inside you, it's very easy for me to say this next part because I have it. Money comes and goes. Money is something that we can all get back all the time. Everybody can earn money again. Every single person. Anyone who really wants to earn money can go out and earn money. When you failed, you didn't die, did you?
No, I did not.
So what's the problem?
I lost everything that I had.
But what? You lost money?
Yeah, I lost money here.
That's all you lost. You didn't lose your health.
No.
You didn't lose family.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I lost a bit of hair.
Okay, yeah. You probably can't get that back unless you go over and do something. Turkey, I've heard. But you didn't die.
No, I did not.
You failed at a business.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you repeated that business again, would you know what you did wrong to make it right this time?
100%. I know what to do way better and what to correct.
So there's your answer. So it's cost you X amount of money to learn how not to fail again. That's a great trade in my eyes.
Yeah.
To me, that's fantastic. Someone said to me, Steve, you've got to pay £50,000 to learn how to not build a 200-storey building, but after you failed, you'll know how to do it correctly the next time. We're like, yeah, sign. Where do I sign?
You know, I'm gonna ask you this as well, because I feel like when you fail, the relationships next to you, if you're not able to manage the thoughts that go through your mind, you're going to make the relationship next to you a bit sour.
Yeah.
Like you might vent onto them, and you being in business with your partner can actually make it worse. How do you deal with that then?
That's where you know you need to make sure the person you've got next to you is the right person, because I'm someone who I don't vent.
Okay.
And I build up, and then I lose my temper.
Yeah.
As in, I swear and I vent for about 10 minutes at something that has triggered it. My Isabella knows me inside out, back to front. So she sees when I'm bottling stuff up. She sees. She literally comes over to me and has a whole conversation. We're like, right, what's the problems? We're going to talk about them right now. She understands me. I understand her as well. And the one thing I've learnt, which I've always done, is bottle stuff up. The last 18 months of my life, as soon as something's not right, I just literally call her and I'm like, this has happened, so I'm not happy about it. I'm upset. I feel emotionally upset. And she'll be like, no problem, let's talk about it. So it's all about having the right person who's with you.
Yeah.
Because the person next to you, they always say is the one who gets the most of the thingy. That's not true. That's not true. That's a coward's way out. Oh, I'm angry, I'm upset, and you're the closest person to me, so I want to take it out on you. No, that person should, A, be the person that you can speak to about what's the problem, and B, she should also know when you are feeling that way, and she can help you get out of it before it becomes the venting and the angerness. And that's what I have found with my partner. That saying, behind every great man is a great woman.
Yeah.
That's the truest saying on earth. Like I keep saying it, If I didn't have my Isabella, I would not be here today. No chance, no chance whatsoever. It wouldn't happen because she makes me a better person because she understands me and she gets it. So it's quite important to understand that when you find the right woman, greatness can be achieved. It genuinely can be done. And it's just knowing that you found the right person. It's really important.
It's like I always say, it's like I always treat like my relationship, obviously my fiance's there, I always treat my relationship like a teammate. So just like with football, obviously you guys work together basically. If one of your teammates gets slide tackled and he's on the floor, you're going to pick him back up. So whenever one of us falls down, I would like you to pick me up or vice versa. So having that right partner is very important because if you can manage each other as a team, if that makes sense, then it's like when you're about to go score a goal, you passing back. You what's his name? You may chip it so they can finish it. If you can create that bond with the partner that you do have, I don't see a way that you can fail.
No,
if that
you
makes
can't.
sense.
That's true.
You can't fail. If you've got that relationship with your partner, you can't fail. Never, ever.
So big man, the what's his name may have not gone well, but learn from the experience.
No, you know, I'm not even gonna have to call.
So your relationship.
If I have to talk about,
I was talking about the business.
If I have to-
Okay. I was going to say, like, whoa.
now my relationship, I've always had the person for the past 4 years. Had this person which, honestly, she's always been supportive about the business. She was doing the stock counting, looking up way to sell the stock because maybe I couldn't figure out to sell the stock on the internet. She'll figure out ways. She's a great salesperson.
Yeah.
So if you put in a room, if you want her to sell this water bottle, she's going to sell it. 100%. She's going to find a way to sell it.
What are you good at?
What am I good at? Thinking about ideas, business ideas, and figuring out how to do it.
So you're good at thinking up ideas of businesses and then putting them into play.
Less on the execution side. I'm working on the execution side.
Okay.
But I'll say she's better on the execution side than me.
What else are you good at?
What else I'm good at?
Yeah. What are your good points? Tell me your strong points in life. What are you good at?
Strong points in life. Would it be business related or just me?
No. What are you just good at?
This is a job
Forget
interview.
business.
Yeah.
What are you good at?
I'll say I'm good at talking to people.
Yeah.
Good at languages.
Yeah.
Good at listening to people. If I want to and if I find them interesting, I think that's a toxic side of me. I'm selective, unfortunately.
Okay.
So a good listening to people, talking to people, understanding them, and let's say if you need help, I'm always there.
Okay. So you know them strong points that you have.
Yeah.
You're trying to create an e-commerce online business, aren't you? Why don't you make money from these strong points first?
Yeah.
Go out and do what you're good at. You're good at speaking to people.
Yeah.
How can you make money from speaking? Think of that first. What? How can you go out and help people speaking? You said you're good at coming up with business ideas.
Yeah.
So why not be a consultant to other people before you do your business?
I thought about it.
So you can watch. Did that work? Okay, I'm a consultant. I've told this person how to set up this e-commerce business. Now, I've watched how he's run it or she's run it. That was the things that worked and that's the thing that's not. Note it down. Then move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Consult them.
Yeah.
They might do the same thing. And before you know it, within 5 years, 3 years, you could have a whole to-do list of like, that worked, that didn't work. Now I'm going to implement it in my own business.
Okay.
Because instead of getting the failures out the way first, which you've done, go and consult and go and help at your strong points. And I reckon that you'll go a lot further if you knew that.
Thanks for the advice.
Personally, that's what I think.
Thanks for the advice.
As they say, a wise man learns from his mistakes, but an even wiser man learns from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I learnt from someone else's mistakes, and then I watch what I do in life now, and I always refer back to what he did. That was his downfall, and I'm like, oh, don't know about that one. I've seen this guy run before. So leave that alone. So yeah, so it's I do that.
No, definitely, it's very important. So obviously, we've touched on the mentorship side of things, which is very important. But then also, when it comes to the position that you're in now, when you achieved basically the things that you've achieved now, how was it? How did you feel when it came to celebrating your wins, your success? Because I feel like a lot of the times, I feel like we pace so fast through life where you tend not to pause. It's easy to think that you haven't achieved nothing. So one, how did it feel when you could actually just take a step back to kind of be like, this is where I'm at. You look back from where you're coming to and you've got to the place that you're at now. What was it like to just be like, okay, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that's a myth. You know this thing about when you're successful, you take a step back and you appreciate yourself. That's complete bullshit. That's a myth. no one takes a step back. Guarantee you, no one takes a step back. I say it all the time. We just bought a building that would turn into 14 flats, 22 flats, 23 flats. I need to take a step back and go, wow, I've actually got that. Never do. Never do it. What actually happens is certain things happen in your life that make you appreciate what you have. So when we did the trainer giveaway in Handsworth, I was really excited. I'll be honest with you. I was like to the team. I was like, guys, we're gonna go to Handsworth. We're gonna give some trainers away. We're gonna give some Jordans, some Yeezys, some Air Force Ones. We're gonna put some smile on some kids' faces, and everything's gonna be cool. Yeah, all right, sound. That's what we're gonna do. Filled the van up, went down, gave away some trainers. I went there with intentions to do a really nice thing. I actually came away from it 2 days ago absolutely distraught. I got back to my house. My Isabella was at home and I just broke down in the kitchen. Like, I'm not an emotional guy at all. I am fucking the furthest from emotion you will ever meet. I literally broke down in the kitchen. She literally thought something had happened to me. And I couldn't speak. And she was like, what's the matter? I'm like, I'm so out of touch with where I'm from because you get caught up in business in the moment that we was giving trainers out, and at the end the kids were coming over saying like, I don't need Yeezys or Air Force Ones or Dunks, I just need trainers. And then the teachers were coming out to us saying the kids have to share gym trainers because they don't have trainers.
Wow.
We don't have t-shirts and shorts to let them thing in, and I'm standing there. So I'm like I'm going there to do a nice thing, and then that's when I take a step back. I got to my house, I walked into my kitchen, and in my kitchen I have 4 ovens, which is excessive, but my missus is an unbelievable cook. And I looked in the ovens and we had a full chicken. In the other oven we had all the vegetables and potatoes. In the other oven we had Yorkshire puddings, and in the other oven my missus is a vegetarian, so she was cooking her food. And I literally looked at it and I was like, there's kids from that place where I've just been going home with no food, and look at what I have there in that oven. And literally I was like, I need to take a step back here. And that night was really hot. I didn't sleep at all. My brain was working and stuff. I can't change people's lives. No one can change people's lives. You can help people's lives.
Yeah.
Because people can only change if they want to change. So by us going out and giving kids the trainers and stuff like that makes them happy for a day. They have to go back to reality on the night.
Yeah.
Can't change that. Because I can't physically go around to everyone's house and give them money or buy them a house or something like that. I don't have that capability. So taking a step back doesn't happen when you achieve things in business. Taking a step back happens when certain things in life make you realise where you are. And that was yes, Wednesday was the day where I was like, holy shit, I was that kid. I need to take a step back and realise what we've achieved. Because I also want my son to come into this world, and I love the fact now he can see his dad on YouTube and Instagram and go, that was my dad. Look at what he does. He genuinely does them things for people. He does them things for people. And I want him to understand that he's going to hopefully be brought into a life of luxury.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want. I want to be able to buy him a Bentley for his first car, or a Ferrari, or a Range Rover. I want to do that for him.
That's good.
But I also want him to understand what it means. I don't know how that works.
Don't you feel like it's detrimental to your son?
By having all that?
Yeah.
No.
You don't feel like him having a Bentley as his first car wouldn't let him value the Bentley?
I think as you bring them up, you can teach the value up until that 17 years old. And you know, as a person, if your son or daughter are going to be just horrible people, I think you can see a horrible person. And if I started spotting horribleness from 11, 12, 13 years old, trust me, ain't no Bentley or Ferrari or Range Rover at 17. But because of my upbringing and my thingy, I want to be able to give my children everything. I'm not one of these guys who's going to be like, my son's got to work. You know, my son's going to want to work. Hopefully. This is what I'm hoping. I don't know until it happens. I want my son to be able to wake up when he's 16 years old and say, Dad, right, I've got all my GCSEs, I'm done, I'm coming to work for the family business. That's my dream. That's what I want, because he's going to be around it all his life. And I do want to buy them everything in the world that they can have, but I do believe it's your upbringing. I genuinely think if you are brought up with, look, I said about my manners. My manners are 10 out of 10. It's because my mum drummed it into me from a kid. So I will be drumming the same things into my children. It's just, Do they turn out the way you want to? Probability scale, if you have 3 kids, one turns out great.
I remember you said this.
One turns out like a crackhead. It's normal. And then the other one is just the one that just floats about that you really just like, oh, I don't know what the hell that one's doing. So on a probability scale, one of them has to turn out to run the business.
Yeah.
And if you do look at it, that's what it is. But I think if you bring them up in a certain way, hopefully they do come up with values and they'll be okay when they're 16, 17, 18 years old. I'm hoping anyway. If not, shit happens and
keep it
they have to do their own thing, aren't they?
One thing that I'd like to touch on is going back to obviously like your property portfolio and stuff. What age as well, if you don't mind me asking, were you able to enter that field and buy your first property? Because I feel like it would be very knowledgeable and obviously beneficial for the people that are watching to have an understanding of how you actually got into buying your first property and most importantly scaling it up, because I feel it's easy to create a business, but the hardest thing to do is kind of figure out how to scale it up for one, and two, how to obviously monetize it and make some sort of financial gain from it.
28 years old was my first property. Completely the wrong strategy in property. I bought it cash from what I'd saved over the 4 years, thinking it was going to be my pension. That was my retirement, because we're always brought up as kids from council estates that you buy your personal home, and if you can ever get a second home, you are like rich. You've made it. So in my brain, I was like, wow, I bought a property that I'm going to rent out now, and I'm never going to sell it. And when I'm 65 years old and I retire, that's my pension. If that makes sense. The dumbest thing in the world, like the stupidest thing ever, because I did that 3 or 4 times over like 4 years. I just saved money, bought a property, saved money, bought a property. And I was like, oh my God, my pension pot's building. Now you imagine if I'd have understood what the BRRR strategy was, the buy, refurbish, refinance, rent, them 4 properties in that first 4 years could have been 16. I didn't understand it, but I got educated by a friend of mine who's a doctor. And he was like, Steve, is that another house you bought? I'm like, yeah. I mean, they weren't expensive houses, don't get me wrong, 60,000, 50,000, 70,000, not 300,000-400,000 pound houses. He was like, well, you do know that you should have took a mortgage out on that and rented it out, and you could have done that 4 times and capital and I was like, what? Whoa, calm down, slow down, say it again. Capital appreciation, because you're buying them in the right areas. In the next 10 years, they'll double. The mortgage is this, the rent is this, there's your profit, that's up times 4. I was like, holy shit, I didn't know none of this stuff. And so, no, you don't, because you don't know it. You only had to explain it to me once though, and that's when I understood it. I was like, I clicked instantly. Like, it wasn't, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like I went home and it was literally there and then on the spot. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then I went and educated more on it. Yeah. And that's when I was like, I can see the growth in this. What am I doing? Why am I buying one house for 50,000 when I can buy 2 on a mortgage? Oh, yeah. And then, and it's like a light bulb moment, but it took like 3 or 4 years for the light bulb to actually ping.
One thing I'm intrigued about, so the infrastructure that you've created now, is that solely off the basis of, let's just say, your own funds? Because obviously, if you don't mind me asking, how much houses or property in general, within your portfolio at this current moment in time?
I have a lot, as you know. Yeah. I have a lot. And 90% of it was my own money, mine and Isabella's. Wow. And then the last year and a half, it's joint ventures, investments and stuff like that. Because once you understand how to use money, and you get it, it becomes easy. So when you can show people what you do day in, day out. I do something called Steve's Weekly on YouTube. Every Sunday, 10 a.m, the weekly comes out. And it's that guy there, Phil. He literally is attached at the hip with me 6 days a week usually. And he films everything and he puts it into a weekly. We have done how many episodes?
6 seasons.
6 seasons.
Wow.
So we have done 1 year and 2 months consistently showing you guys what I do every single day. So there's nobody out there that can actually say he doesn't do what he says he does, right? That opens doors. That gives people confidence to say, I've got some money. Can you help me? Once you achieve that, the world's your oyster. You can literally go anywhere you want to go because it's credibility.
And
you're
trust.
genuinely showing what you're doing. Again, certain things like the offices, people can find you. They know where you are. It's not like you're a fly-by-night merchant who's taking someone's money and then you're running around and they're chasing you. Every investment that's ever happened with us or every joint venture, every single person has been paid on the date that they've said. Just credibility. We do what we do. And my next target is 100 million.
Well,
and to get to 100 million, I need to use other people's funds. So we are going through FCA accreditation now. There's certain proceedings we're taking because with investment, there's a risk. Whereas what I'm doing now with joint ventures and loan agreements and stuff, there's no risk because it's personally guaranteed. But when you want investment, it's easier to be FCA accredited. And that'll take us to that next level that we're trying to get to.
so would you say trust is more important than the funds that you have?
Yeah, trust. My name is very important. My credibility is very important. I don't get attacked on social media. I don't get attacked on Instagram because there is nobody out there that can attack me for anything I've done. The second that you start doing badness or the second that you start doing certain things, stories start popping up, people start attacking, people start doing certain things. I don't have none of that because I just say what I'm gonna do. If I can't do it, I'll tell you I can't do that. Like there's no point me saying I can do something when I can't.
True.
So yeah, credibility is key.
And I think the one thing that I appreciated about you is the transparency, because as I said, I watch your YouTube videos as well, and you're transparent through everything. If something's going shit, you're basically saying, oh, this didn't go well. Or especially, I feel one thing that's very helpful is with your videos when you break it down, because everyone wants to get in property. Plain and simple. Probably not everyone, but there's a lot of people that want to enter that field and may not know the step-by-step things, what they need to look out for and whatnot. And obviously, I know you have your other brand as well, the Property Circle, where obviously you've now created an infrastructure for people to now join and actually be able to reach out to certain people to avoid them, let's just say, from losing a bit more money that they used to. But one thing that I could see, especially with you and your brand that you've put throughout, is transparency, because on your YouTube it'll be like, if I don't know, to get mirrors it was 10 grand or whatnot, you're like, this is how much it should charge. Obviously with certain houses it can waver, but I think because you've set that precedent for yourself, it makes it easier for other people to look to you and trust you. So when it came to that it came to you creating that Property Circle, would you say that was detriment for you to actually get more people, obviously, to join that infrastructure?
Yeah, 100%. The Property Circle, where people join my network, you get out of it what you put in. So when people call me and say, I want to join the circle, I'm like, well, what are you going to do? And a lot of people will say, oh, just join. Just pay the membership fee. It's a one-off membership fee and join. If someone tells me something on the phone and they say, oh, I'm doing it, I'm like, well, it's pointless you joining my network then. And they're like, huh? I'm like, well, you just told me you ain't got this and you ain't got that. So what the hell are you joining my network for? What are you paying 995 quid to join a network for that you can't get nothing out of? Oh, I just thought it'd be good to join. I'm like, well, no, it's not. It's no good. And then I say, okay, thank you. But then 3 months later, they'll call me up and they'll go, I'm ready. Now I've done what you've just said I wasn't. I'm ready. And I think that's why we're growing so fast, because I'm not out there trying to sell the network. I don't even advertise the network. You join the network when you're ready to do something and you want to be around like-minded people. You will get out of that network what you put into that network. I can talk to you every day of the week and tell you what to do until you get out and do it.
Yeah.
You're never going to achieve anything. Being around me isn't enough. Being around me gives you 60%. The other 40% is you getting off your ass and going to do it. So me with that Property Circle, we've grown it to an incredible amount of people in such a short space of time. And what I have planned for that is exceptional. What I'm going to do with that over the next 5 years is going to be the biggest thing the property sector in the UK has ever seen.
Wow.
And it's already on course for it.
Yeah.
But no, people shouldn't join my network if they are lazy. People shouldn't join my network if they have no really like they're not going to do anything, and they're just trying to be part of something that's pretty cool on social media. Pointless. You're just wasting your money. I only join my network if you're going to do something.
You know what? When Rich introduced me to you, he was like, "Oh yeah," he showed me your profile and everything. I was like, "Okay, yeah." I'd never seen you previously, so I had to go watch the YouTube videos and everything. It was like, "Oh, he's a property investor," but I've always had this notion that property is a rich man's game, because I've always felt like a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to go into property," but you need a substantial amount of properties for you to actually make a decent amount of money. Do you think that's true, or
No, well, I'm living proof.
don't think that's true?
No, it's not true. You can get into property. There's hundreds of ways of getting into property.
Okay.
You can start at the top end where you got millions of pounds and you can buy everything and you can sell everything and you can rent it out. You can start with zero money by finding properties that work, as in flipping BRR, and sell it to someone who's looking for it. You don't need no money to do that.
Yeah.
You can just do that yourself. There's this little thing called rent to rent, which I'm not a huge fan of. So anybody who's friends of mine who's watching this, you know I don't like rent to rent, but that's a strategy that works in the short term, I believe, because you're building your brand based on someone else's asset. So you need to get in, get out. That's my opinion on rent to rent. There's multiple ways you can get into property. That mentality of thinking it's a rich man's game is what you need to get out of your mind to move forward. But if you look at every rich person in the world, if you look at all the wealthy people, most of their wealth comes from property.
Yeah,
It doesn't actually come from their business.
just like McDonald's.
Well, McDonald's is a real estate company.
Yeah.
It's not a fast food company. But everything out there is based. Every rich person has wealth from property, and it's just the way it is. It's got to be something to be said if everyone who's rich has got property. I'm a big believer in your business builds your cash flow, your property builds your wealth. I'm a big believer in that because it's a long-term game. You have to hold. You have to buy things and hold. You can flip and make short-term funds and short-term money.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in the vision and holding. That's what I'm a big believer in that.
No, definitely. Tying things up, like bringing everything together. One thing I'm very intrigued about, obviously with your, I think it's your logo, obviously it's a picture of you. But the one thing that stood out for me is obviously when I first saw your car, it was the license plate. It wasn't necessarily the car, beautiful car, but it was the license plate. Obviously it said 11. And then I started doing my research on you. And then the number 11 just kept on popping up. And I was thinking, why, what's with the 11? It must signify something. So what does the 11 necessarily signify, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't mind dressing at all. So my whole world is around my feelings, my gut, my intuition. I make really good decisions based on things. I believe your gut is another sense. So when you're happy, what happens? You get butterflies.
Yeah.
When you get bad news or something happens, you kind of need to run to the toilet.
Yeah.
I believe that this is something that we've never been told is part of our intuition and part of our senses. I believe it is. I follow it. So I like all that kind of stuff. I'm into it. I'm not like out there, as in like I believe in like ghosts and spirits and stuff walking through the walls and things. But guts and instincts and stuff like that. My mum passed away when I was 23 years old, and my granddad passed away when I was 16. And my granddad was like my dad. He was very close to me. And ever since them two have gone, I've always felt like I have this thing looking over me. Like my mum always used to say I was born under a lucky star. And when my mum passed away, 11 just kept popping up everywhere I went, every single time. Just everything was around number 11. Every single thing in this world was around number 11. This was a long time ago, obviously. It was like 15 years ago, 14 years ago. And I've just run with 11. So it's just become part and parcel of my life, genuinely. Yeah. My baby that's being born in March, his name is Cruise 11 Hamilton. Middle name's 11. All my companies are called 11. All my cars have 11 on the number plate.
I've seen it.
And going back to the logo,
Yeah.
with the cap down of me, the symbol, that's a story in itself. I was at a boxing evening, and I hate my photo. I genuinely hate my photo taken. I just don't like it at all. And someone shouted over to me and was like, "Steve, look up." And I was standing next to this picture, and this person, I'm not going to go into who it was because it's just pointless, but he took a photo of me. And as he took the photo, I put my hat down like that, and I was leaning against the wall, and he come over to me and he went, "When you start a business, like, you know, your brand on social media, that's your logo. Look at you with a cap down. It's a cool image." What? And then they turned it into a cartoon character.
Yeah.
They got it made into a cartoon character. And literally, when I say that brand is like 2 years old and it is flying, like you can see it on the lads' tops.
Yeah.
And people buy caps and t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. it was because I didn't like to show my face. And for the first year on social media, I didn't show my face.
Didn't show your face.
And then literally, I took my cap off one day, I took a picture, and then bam, the whole world just opened up, and obviously it just went wild. But yeah, that brand is because I don't like my picture, and 11 is because I believe someone's watching over me.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
So you're spiritual, I would say.
To an extent, I believe there's something else. What it is, I have no idea, and I'm never going to think about it and try and figure it out. I'll just find out when it's time for me to go.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah, that's how I am with that. When the day comes when I'm gone, I'll know what's going on after that. If I don't, I don't. So I'm gone. So yeah, I'm not going to deep too much. I haven't got time to figure it out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, as you know, like this podcast, the aim that we always try to put together, anyone that watches it or listens to it, we want every time you listen to an episode to be able to learn something or take away something from that podcast that you can implement in their own lives to hopefully further to allow them to progress. Coming to an end, if you could give one piece of advice to someone that's listening, what advice would you give?
Well, I have two. Don't be afraid to fail, because we all fail, and it's very important that failures happen because you can't achieve greatness unless you have failed. And failing can happen 10, 20, 30, 100 times. If you keep going, you will eventually hit what you're trying to do. And secondly, which is probably the most important piece of advice I can give any single person, get away from idiots, because the more you are around them and the more you associate yourself with people who are draining you, you will never, ever, ever, ever get anywhere. And I have cut out so many people in my life, mainly family, all my family, and I've achieved certain things that I've always wanted to achieve. And I know for a fact that if I was around these people, I would never get anywhere. And sometimes it's difficult to get rid of people that are close to you, but it'll be the best thing you ever do.
No.
Thank you.
Well, you heard it from the man himself. Well, obviously, thank you again for coming on.
You're
Appreciate
welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
It's been Get Back season, guys. Another episode, another time. Make sure you tune in for another episode and just grow with us on our journey. But take care.
It's probably the longest episode we've ever done.
This is Get Back season, baby.